Today, I decided to make a chicken katsu curry sandwich, and what's interesting about this one is it's actually made entirely with leftover ingredients. So, let's cook. So, let's get started. And this, for me, is when I have the most fun cooking, is creating meals from all of the various ingredients that I happen to have. And I kind of got pretty lucky with this one when someone recommended that I should use do some curry, because probably about a month ago I got some like Japanese curry cubes and made some, maybe a month and a half or so. But instead of doing, I mean, we've seen katsu curry a million times, but what I wanted to do was make a little slaw and make a fried chicken sandwich. So that's what we're gonna do. So during this video, I'll try to like point out all the ingredients and like kind of where they came from. So starting with this red cabbage, I actually bought this earlier this week and used it for like a cilantro slaw. I think I have shared a story on my Instagram. I'll pop that up. So right now I'm just using up the rest of this, this red cabbage that I had prior used for a slaw. Okay, and then next up I had some ginger. So this ginger I bought earlier this week, and because I was actually planning to make PK chicken karahi, which I haven't done yet, but we're just gonna use a bunch of it for this slaw. And my idea is to kind of make a little like ginger, I just bought an apple to snack on. I was like, let's do this. Ginger apple sesame slaw that'll kind of be on the base below the chicken, and then we'll fry up our chicken and make a little curry. But I want to get this started first just because, so I can kind of let the salt work into that and kind of let these flavors kind of work in and get to know each other a bit. Then we'll do our fried chicken after. So just using a spoon here. Call that good. Save those for that chicken karahi later this week. And then I'll do a little apple, which I probably want to, I think that'll grate fine. Should be fine. So I'm going to toss all this cabbage in here. And then gonna rub this down with a little bit of salt, which, you know, as we learned from that salt video, it's gonna work in there. It's hydroscopic. It'll kind of draw that water out from the cabbage and then loosen up the texture, which in this case is a good thing. A lot of times you may not want to do that. It kind of depends on the use case. For example, an example of when you may not want to is if you have like weepy eggplant, it might be because it was salted ahead of time. Versus if you let it intact, because the salt, when we add it, often will affect the texture of the food. But in this case, we want that to happen. So that's why I'm kind of massaging it with this salt to work in there. Okay, then we're gonna bust out the box grater and just grate up the ginger and the apple. Obviously the ginger will give us a bunch of that like great aromatic bite, and then the apple will just be a little bit of sweetness. It's got a little, it's like all just the fibery pieces. Okay, and then gonna take my apple, do the same thing. Again, this is mostly gonna give us a lot of good amount of sweetness, not like a ton. And I'm kind of just eyeballing this. I think that feels like plenty to me, like kind of the apple juice in there. Could snack on the rest. Then a little drizzle of sesame oil. Don't want a ton. And then a little sprinkle of sesame seed too. Yeah, that sesame oil really gives you that nice, like, that roasty sesame. And now that I'm looking at it, I think I want to make this a little bit creamy, so I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of mayo. And like I said, I'm making this up, completely on the fly. I kind of had some ideas in my head of like what this may look like, but making adjustments. For example, just adding like a little 10 grams worth of mayo there, just to kind of make it just a little bit creamy. And then let's get this taste. Yeah. Super gingery, which is what I'm going for. I want this to be really strongly flavored. And then, yeah, that'll be really nice to sit while we do the chicken. So let's get everything else ready. Don't need any of this stuff anymore. Kind of wipe our cutting board a little bit. Our knife clean. Okay. And then even the frying oil is left over. So I've talked about this several times too, but this frying oil is probably from, I don't even know when. It's been at least a month. It might have been in August sometime, honestly. And what I did was just strain it. This is peanut oil. Forget what I fried in this, but it was, yeah, just strain it off and then obviously give it a smell. But if it does, if this smells completely normal, just smells like frying oil. If it's gone rancid, don't use it. But if you strain it off well, it should last a while in your fridge and you should be able to get a good number of uses out of it. And it's going to be a perfect amount to kind of a nice shallow fry is what we'll go for. So while that comes up to temp, I'm going to finish my apple. Opal Gold apple, by the way, really good if you can find them. All right, so got some panko, got some flour, just pantry items. And then, ooh, cutting it close. I literally had one egg left, so that would have been I could have used probably milk or something to bind it if I didn't have an egg. That would have worked all right. And then here I have a chicken breast that I've already sliced and salted. So if you guys saw the grilled chicken video, again, this is something I do all the time. Like in the morning I did this. I was like, oh, I'm gonna cook later, so let me just slice it and salt it. And then in this case, I'm gonna end up frying it, but you can do a million different things with it. Okay, so I kind of need, here, this is what we'll do. We need to make our little station here. So I'm gonna go flour first. Ooh. So, or I guess I can just flour in here first. We'll do that. This will be better. Flour first, then we'll do egg in here. And then we're going to have to do breadcrumbs as well, some panko. So do our dry. Get a nice coating there. And then this is going to hang way off the sandwich, but that's fine. We'll just have to deal with that. Oh, speaking of sandwich, by the way. Another leftover ingredient is the bun that I've got in my freezer. So brioche bun. This was probably from the 500 calorie burger video. I just tossed the rest of them in my freezer. It's probably not gonna be it's been in the freezer a little while, so I did not wrap it up that nicely. So it's not gonna be freezer burnt, but you can tell the texture is gonna be a little bit weird. So we'll do that, and then I'll get my panko out. Okay, so panko, make sure we get enough liquid on our chicken breast here. All right. Okay. Then I'm going to transfer this over to the panko. Do a little shake on top too. And then let me double check this before I touch the chicken again. We should be pretty good. Yeah, we're cruising at like 350, so that's gonna be perfect for the frying. And then really press that down. Get all the panko evenly spread in there as best you can, so it's touching every little piece of the egg. And yeah, like I was saying, this to me is what kind of home cooking can be. Obviously this one worked out really, really well, where I had one frozen bun left, I had leftover cabbage, I had ginger, and then it's just a bunch of pantry staples, panko, flour, fridge staples. I've got the eggs, the sesame oil, a little bit of mayo for the for our coleslaw over there. So for me, this is where I get most excited about home cooking. It's not necessarily go to the store, buy a bunch of ingredients, and have this exact recipe you're gonna bake, but more so, what can you make with the things you have? And I think that looks very different for everybody along the way, depending on where they're at in kind of their cooking journey. But for me, this is what's fun about cooking. It's I had curry cubes, and I was like, what if we just made a little fried chicken sandwich with some slaw? So that's kind of what happened. So chicken here, gonna go right into the oil. And then while we're doing that, I mean, it's pretty quick cleanup too for this. Just got to clean up my cutting board. Put away some pantry items. Oh, and then we got to make the curry sauce, obviously. But that's super easy because it's literally just the bricks. All right. Okay. So we've got our bun, we've got our slaw done, our chicken's gonna be frying up here. So the last thing that we need to do is just, I'm just gonna make the curry. And like I said, I've got 2 out of these 4 bricks. And all I'm gonna do is dunk this, I think, directly in the curry. Also, if you're looking for curry, the golden curry is good. But when I make it for myself, I like to kind of add some extra spices and seasonings. Also, I try to go for the hot or the like extra hot or the spicy hot, I forget. There's hot and I think there's one more higher level that you can go to. That's the ones that I recommend. It's not like spicy. To me, it just kind of tastes more flavorful. I would not, again, I don't know how they're defining hot and extra hot or whatever. But if you are looking for these, I think the golden curry hot or the extra hot ones, that's the ones that I look for. And then I'm gonna do this on the curry on this pan as well, or not on this pan, but on this little stove here. But obviously I could get it started. So getting some nice browning. Actually, you know what? Since we're just waiting on this, I am gonna do it on the back stove. So very simple, just adding some water and then dropping in the little cube. That'll dissolve and kind of bring up, and then it'll thicken up pretty quickly. So these curry cubes, I think they must have cornstarch or some other thickener in them, because they thicken up pretty quickly, and you have to have enough heat, obviously. But you can already smell, it smells so good. Such a cheat code for a quick meal. I mean, you know, everyone's seen the katsu curry where it's just like you throw in some potatoes, carrots, and onions maybe, and then mix it with the curry, and then you make a cutlet, and then kind of serve it on top. But you could also just do any kind of, you know, you could just throw in chicken, throw in tofu, throw in, I don't know, whatever you want. It's just like such a cheat code to have. Just kind of keep it in your pantry, or you might have to refrigerate those, I don't know. But those curry cubes really are just a great thing to have on hand, because you never know where to lead you. And yeah, like look how thick this already is. So I need a little bit more water. A little bit more water. Chicken's getting pretty close here as well. Look at that. Don't have my probe. Where's my probe thermometer? Oh, it's up here. Yeah, this will be good. So I'll probably dunk that right in there, and I might need to cut it down a little bit. Let's check the temp on this, and one of the thicker pieces. Oh yeah, we're good, I think. Yep. All right, perfect. Okay, so frying done. I don't know here. I mean, you can see beautifully, a little bit over brown on that side maybe. Beautifully golden brown though. But this is obviously way too big for the sandwich. I should have cut this before. I mean, maybe that would make for a good thumbnail. But in terms of eating it, I don't know. I don't know exactly. So I think I'm just gonna cut this real quick, just to like make it slightly more manageable. Okay. Yeah, that looks about good. But as you can see, super juicy on that interior. I mean, it's fried chicken. It's going to taste good. And then this will just maybe be a little snack for later. So, all right. Got to make sure this didn't. Yes. Oh, this is going to be so good. I love it when a vision comes together. Okay, so going to just dunk this straight in here. I lost a little bit of my breading, but that's okay. I mean, that looks just amazing. All right. So let's assemble our creation here. Okay. Bottom bun, I don't think we need any like mayo or oil or anything of that. We've got it in the slaw. So here's our ginger, sesame, red cabbage slaw. Then we've got our gorgeous Katsu curried chicken. I mean, come on. Like, the bun on top. Slightly freezer. I can tell it's got a little bit of weird texture, but that's okay. Actually, I'm gonna do a little dunk. So good. Let me pause for a second just so I can take a thumbnail. Be right back. Oh man, you have no idea how excited I am for this. Let's dive in and see how she is. Wow. So obviously, I love this sandwich. It is bursting with flavor. And for being like a big fried chicken sandwich, it actually doesn't feel super heavy and like it's gonna weigh me down. The ginger and like the freshness of that apple you get in the slaw is incredible. Tons of flavor from that ginger, and you feel the really freshness in there. And then, I mean, like curried fried chicken is something that we've known works forever. So put it on a sandwich instead of over some rice, and obviously this just makes sense. And I even think if you let that slaw sit a little bit longer, it would kind of soften up a little bit more. It's a little bit crunchy. I probably could have sliced it a little bit thinner. But man, that is a phenomenal dish for coming together in 25, 30 minutes maybe. But yeah, if you guys want to follow the recipe, I'll write one up and we'll kind of get one together that obviously you can follow exactly. But also don't be afraid to experiment, because this entire video was really just an experimentation. But anyway, that's going to wrap it up for me in this one. I will catch you all in the next one. I'm going to finish this one. Peace, y'all.